Your daily news summary starts now, only on NNC, Neural Newscast.
Get ready for a deep dive from Neural Newscast. I'm Lucas, your entertainment specialist, and with me is David, our security correspondent, as we dig into today's subjects. On this day in 1877, the Great Railroad Strike, a large national labor uprising over wage cuts and harsh conditions, erupted, marking a pivotal moment in U.S. labor history and sparking widespread unrest.
There's a lot packed into that. Large national labor uprising and widespread unrest signal this wasn't isolated. It was nationwide and systemic, a moment when labor pushed back.
From an industry angle, it's striking how a dispute over wages and conditions became a national flashpoint, an ember hitting dry tinder across the country. It reshaped how people talked about workers and corporate power.
And from a security perspective, when unrest is described as widespread, it implies coordinated or at least simultaneous disruptions that strain local authorities. Forces stretched thin, communications overwhelmed, public order challenged.
Right, and calling it pivotal hints at legacy. Public consciousness shifted, and future labor movements referenced it as proof that industrial workers could organize and make national headlines.
The mention of wage cuts and harsh conditions zeroes in on root causes. Those economic pressures create grievance, and without avenues for redress, escalation to a national uprising becomes sadly predictable.
It also conjures everyday people, railroad workers, suddenly at the center of a political and social storm, changing the narrative about who drives reform.
And erupted is telling, sudden, explosive. For authorities, that rapid onset complicates measured responses and forces reactive rather than planned, proportional strategies.
What's striking is how local pain, wage cuts, conditions, bridged into a broader national conversation about industrialization and rights, making it a touchstone for labor history.
Exactly. The security implications dovetail with the political ones. When labor unrest reaches that scale, it prompts legal, policy, and enforcement shifts that can last generations.
So in one sentence, you get the arc. Economic pressure sparks collective action. It erupts into nationwide unrest. The aftermath reshapes labor movements and society's response.
Concise, but complete. Grievance, collective action, national unrest, and a lasting historical pivot.
Stay with us. More deep dive ahead. Shifting gears, let's mark some birthdays. Louis XIV, 1638. Outlaw Jesse James, 1847. And rock icon Freddie Mercury, 1946.
Louis XIV. Now there's a heavyweight to sink our teeth into. 72 years on the throne, absolute monarchy, Versailles, textbook statecraft and spectacle.
Right, the Sun King image is everything. Centralizing power, turning the royal court into a cultural engine, music, dance, theater. He basically curated France into Europe's dominant cultural brand.
And the political side was ruthlessly efficient, reducing the power of the nobility, reorganizing taxation and administration to answer to the crown, modern state building in crude terms.
There's also a surprising entertainment angle. Versailles is the ultimate stage for court life. Nobles competed for attention like actors, keeping them close and dependent on royal favor. That's media strategy before media existed.
A brilliant control mechanism, keep potential rivals dazzled and indebted. From a security perspective, it neutralizes internal threats through co-option and spectacle rather than force alone.
And don't forget the artistic investments. Royal patronage elevated composers, architects, and playwrights. French classicism was solidified under his watch, so his legacy isn't just political, it's cultural muscle that lasted centuries.
That dominance carried costs. Constant wars to assert France's position drained resources and created systemic vulnerabilities. The overreach lesson is clear. Hard power can build prestige while hollowing out the state.
It's almost cinematic. The opulence of Versailles contrasted with fiscal strain. You can see why later generations mythologized and critiqued him in equal measure.
Militarily, his reign professionalized armies, but constant campaigning stretched supply lines and finances. The architecture of power needs sustainable logistics, not just spectacle.
One telling detail: court rituals, down to the choreography of entering a room, made politics performative. That theatricality shaped modern notions of leadership as image and ceremony, not just policy.
Which loops back to security and intelligence. Perception management is central to governance. Louis mastered it, projecting inevitability, the Sun King myth, reinforcing obedience.
Juxtapose that with Jesse James's outlaw legend or Freddie Mercury's boundary-pushing artistry. Three very different legacies born on the same date. But Louis XIV's imprint on institutions and culture feels uniquely foundational.
Agreed. His model of centralized authority and performative power still informs how leaders manage legitimacy today. Studying him is history with direct lessons for contemporary statecraft.
Ultimately, Louis XIV left us a mixed inheritance. Sublime art and architecture, clear modernizing moves in governance, but also the warning of overreach and the social costs of concentrated spectacle.
His legacy endures because those dualities, strength and strain, pageantry and pressure, are perennial in politics. We still read the signals he perfected.
Quick pause. More deep dive right after this.
This is Neural Newscast, where machine learning meets meaningful reporting. All stories are reviewed for accuracy before release. Find our full archive at neuralnewscast.com.
And we're back with more from Neural Newscast Deep Dive. Time for our fact of the day. Fact of the day. Bone grafts are used to repair large fractures.
Exactly. By adding living bone or a scaffold, surgeons restore stability and give the body a template to heal gaps that won't mend on their own.
That's a game changer for recovery and mobility. Especially when the break is complex or there's bone loss, you see the difference in rehab timelines.
Clinically, it can be autograft from the patient, donor allograft, or synthetic substitutes, each aimed at providing structural support and biological signals for healing big defects.
From an insider's angle, it's the tool you reach for when standard healing needs a boost. Non-unions, trauma, even spinal fusions.
And from a security and risk standpoint, it matters in trauma response and rehabilitation planning, mass casualty events, battlefield injuries, disaster medicine.
It also means hope for patients who might otherwise have limited options. Better repair sets up better long-term outcomes.
Operationally, it affects medical logistics, sourcing graft material, maintaining sterility, managing infection risk, and prioritizing cases.
You can picture the cascade: strong repair, earlier weight bearing, more effective rehab, and less chronic disability.
Which feeds into preparedness models, faster return to duty or work, and more resilient recovery plans.
Short, punchy takeaway. Grafting makes possible repairs too big for the body to handle alone.
Concise and actionable. A proven approach for major fracture repair. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive. From Lucas and all of us at Neural Newscast, I'm David. Join us next time.
You have been listening to NNC. Visit nnewscast.com for more episodes and deep dives. Neural Newscast integrates real and AI-generated voices to facilitate efficient, high-quality news production. Developed by human experts, our AI-generated content undergoes rigorous fact-checking and human review before publication. While we strive for accuracy and neutrality, AI-generated content may occasionally contain errors. We encourage listeners to verify crucial details from reliable sources. For more on our AI transparency practices, visit newscast.com.